Hey everyone! Today we're talking about one of the most iconic and complex alien species in sci-fi history. No, not the xenomorphs, though they'll come up later. Today we're talking about the Yautja, or as we all know them, the Predators. And honestly, this topic goes so deep that when I started researching it, I sometimes felt like I had to write a PhD dissertation in xenoanthropology. But that's also the beauty of it, because while in the films these guys are practically just brutal hunters, there's an incredibly detailed, complex civilization hidden in the background. So in this video, I'd like to introduce you a bit better to these iconic predators. Consider this video an introduction to the world of the Yautja. Let's start at the beginning. Where did the predators come from? According to the expanded lore, and here we're mainly relying on Dark Horse Comics material, the Yautja were not originally the apex predators of the galaxy. In fact, there was a time when they were the prey. The story begins with an insectoid species called the Amengi. These guys were a technologically advanced, arrogant alien race who, well, enjoyed enslaving others. And the ancestors of the Yautja, who were then called the Hish, were their servants. Now, I honestly find this part of the lore quite problematic because it falls a bit too easily into the slave race rebels and takes over the oppressor's tech trope that we've seen 1,000 times before. But, and this is a big but, what they did well here is that this wasn't a simple uprising. The entire rebellion was led by an exceptionally large and intelligent, he's named Kyle, who is now referred to as the Alpha Predator. And this figure, well, his legend is basically the foundation of the entire Yautja culture. He was the first true predator. The Amengi, who had ruled over them for centuries, lived in luxury. They became militarily soft because, well, why would they need a strong army when slaves did all the work for them? And that was precisely their downfall. Kyle and his rebels brutally slaughtered them. And those they didn't kill? Well, they became the new slaves. So the Yautja not only defeated their oppressors, but did exactly the same thing to them that they had done to the Hish. They replaced slavery with slavery. And while I understand that this is a sci-fi universe where brutality is part of world building, this is still a pretty grim beginning for an honor-based warrior culture, isn't it? But here's the twist that makes this really interesting. They took over the Amengi technology, but they didn't just copy it. The Yautja, or as we now call them, blended this high-tech knowledge with their own ancient tribal culture. And this is what's brilliant about the Predator design. Look at them in the films. They have plasma weapons, active camouflage, spaceships, but at the same time they collect skulls, rip out spines, and decorate themselves with tribal markings. This duality, the mix of advanced tech and primal savagery, is what makes them so visually and conceptually unique. After defeating the Amengi, the Yautja began to expand throughout the galaxy. They built motherships, massive spacecraft carrying entire clans, and began to explore the galaxy's most dangerous planets. Why? Because in the meantime, they developed something that completely defined their civilization, the culture of the hunt. Okay, now that we know where they came from, let's talk about how their society works. Because believe me, this isn't a simple strong rules over weak situation though. Well, it partly is. Yautja society operates on a merit-based caste system based on hunting experience. There's a hierarchy, and it's not hereditary. You fight for your place yourself. At the bottom of the system are the unblooded. These are young Yautja who haven't killed a single worthy prey yet. They're basically nobodies in the eyes of society. Of course, there's another side to this. Yautja society is not racist in the classic sense, at least not within their own species. If you, as a human, defeat a predator, you earn respect. There are examples of humans, like Machiko Noguchi in the comics, or Danny Glover's character, Harrigan, in Predator 2, receiving recognition from the Yautja. This is a symbolic gesture. You were worthy. You survived. You deserve this trophy. There's an internal logic, a code they follow. The problem is that this code is brutally exclusive and Darwinist. Now another interesting aspect, gender roles. According to the expanded lore, female Yautja are generally faster, smarter, and more dangerous than males. The society is matriarchal. The real power lies with female leaders. And this, well, it's a bit dissonant, isn't it? Because in the films we almost exclusively see male predators. At the end of the 2025 Badlands film, there is a reference to a female predator, Deck's mother, but we've never seen her. In the video game Predator Hunting Grounds, we can control a female predator named Cleopatra, but the mere fact that this game is part of the canon is stomach-turning in itself. But back to society. The Yautja are governed by clans, and these clans fall under a council of ancients. This Ancients Council is basically the highest decision-making body, and here again we see that tribal-feudal mix, modern tech, ancient structure. Now comes the question that truly defines the Yautja. Why do they hunt? Because think about it. These beings are capable of depopulating planets. They have plasma weapons, nuclear self-destruct devices. Why don't they just overrun planets? Why do they need this whole ritual? Because the hunt is sacred to them. Yautja religion is built around the hunt. This is the meaning of their existence. According to the lore, they believe that if they hunt honorably and prove their worth as warriors, they will earn a place in the afterlife alongside their ancestors. When a predator kills, they typically skin or decapitate the victim to make a trophy, and if they're defeated, they activate the self-destruct bomb in their wrist gauntlets so they don't leave their tech behind. I didn't win. I didn't deserve to survive, but I won't let the unworthy touch me. A Yautja doesn't kill because they're hungry, not because they're defending themselves. They travel across the galaxy for sport to kill everyone who is worthy. And then they present this as a religious act. It's like when someone is a mass murderer but says, "No, this is art." However, the Yautja have rules. They don't kill children. Well, usually not. They don't kill unarmed, sick, or defenseless beings. There's a scene in Alien vs Predator where a Yautja spares the dying, cancer-ridden Wayland, then kills him anyway when he proves he can still pose a threat. So there's an internal logic, a code of honor. But still, this is a cruel culture. The hunt is a trial, a way to prove they're worthy of life. And if you're not worthy, then you must die. Darwinism on steroids. Okay. Let's talk about the physical side, because the Yautja are absolute units. Their average height is 2.1 meters, about 7 feet. But there are examples of individuals reaching 2.4 meters, nearly 8 feet. They have reptilian scaly skin that can range from light to dark. And what's interesting, their armor is equipped with heat-regulating wire mesh because their bodies are cold-blooded in nature and need warmth. By the way, for humans, this mesh is practically unbearable. There's a lore entry that says a human tried it, and even at the lowest setting, it was torture. But what's really interesting here is the Yautja eugenics program. Yes, you heard that right. The elder predators basically decide which males are suitable for reproduction. And if you're not strong enough, big enough, or a good enough hunter, then they castrate you. There's a character in the lore, Larnixva, who almost underwent sterilization because of this, as he was smaller than average. We can read about this in the Hunter's Planet novels. This is real directed evolution, and I know these are fictional aliens, but it's still thought-provoking that a franchise presented as a noble warrior culture essentially operates racial breeding. Now let's turn to a truly fascinating point, the Yautja's relationship with humanity. Because it turns out that predators visited Earth with the ancient Egyptians, the Aztecs, the Khmer Empire, and these people worshiped them as gods. It's revealed that the Yautja taught ancient civilizations how to build and equip them with other knowledge. In exchange, they asked humans to sacrifice people so they could breed xenomorphs, because for predators, the alien is the ultimate prey. However, there's also a beautiful side. The Yautja respect human warriors. Throughout history, Vikings, samurai, ninjas, and modern soldiers have been able to defeat predators. And when that happened, the Yautja acknowledged them. They gave trophies, they showed respect. So, the relationship between Yautja and humans is complex. There are moments when they're allies. There are moments when they show respect for each other. But don't let this fool anyone. Fundamentally, we are sport to them. Now, let's switch gears a bit. What do the Yautja do when they're not hunting? Because although their culture is built around hunting, they still live. They have engineers, scientists, doctors, they have farmers, they have artists and historians. So this is not a one-dimensional, only kills species. They have a complex civilization with infrastructure, an education system, and art. And of course, they reproduce. Mating is pleasurable for the Yautja, for both sexes. But it can also be dangerous for males because females are more aggressive. There's a passage where a male predator notes that he once flew across the room during a more intense moment. So we can say that even copulation is a display of strength ritual between the participating individuals. Predator babies, called pups or spawnlings, are born live with an umbilical cord and a blue amniotic sac. So despite being reptilian, they don't hatch from eggs. And what's surprising, the Yautja value family bonds, and there's often a close relationship between parents and children. But, and this is another but, children are raised in a Spartan manner. From a young age, they're exposed to violence to toughen them up. So it can be said that even in peacetime, the Yautja seek combat, driven by social conformity stemming from religion. Okay, so what have we learned today? The Yautja are an incredibly complex species. Their society is brutal, Darwinist, with eugenics programs, a caste system, and a religion that revolves around killing. But at the same time, they have a code of honor. They respect strength, regardless of where it comes from. And they have a cultural depth that goes beyond the only kills stereotype. The Yautja aren't here for us to love them. They're here for us to understand what a civilization built around the hunt would be like, and how terrifying it would be to encounter them. So that was today's video. If you liked it, hit the like button, subscribe, and write in the comments. What do you think of Yautja culture? If you're interested in the different subspecies of Yautja or their named heroes, let me know in the comments and I'll try to make a video about them. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.